Oh, it's here finally. The revisiting for Bride of Chucky. Can't wait to do this revisiting review. If you do enjoy the video, make sure you smack that like button one time for me. Let's go ahead and get into the video. Bride of Chucky, love this film. I love this film to death. I think this is the best Chucky film. It's my opinion. This is one of the best Chucky films. I say one of the best. I say the first two in Bride are the best. Bride of Chucky, you follow this couple, and they're questioning, whether, who's the killer or not. So they're questioning, they're questioning each other, who's the killer, etc. Chucky, gets picked up by Tiffany, which I will get into in a minute. He can't talk today. She gets him from a police officer that stole him from Evan's depository. And one of my favorite scenes in this is the Evans depository scene where he gets Chucky. That scene is iconic to me. I don't care what you say. That scene's iconic. You see the Michael Myers mask. You see, you see Freddy's glove in there. So iconic. And I even heard people say you can see like the Puppet Master puppets. I never noticed that, but people say you do, so maybe I gotta pause it. I don't know. But people say you do see the Puppet Master puppets. Bride of Chucky. This is one of my favorite Chucky films. I remember this film like the back of my hand. This is probably my most watched. To me, this reminds me of Dream Warriors. This really does, because it's a perfect balance. It's a perfect balance of horror with a pinch of comedy. It's just a pinch. It's not a whole heaping pile of comedy like they did in Seed. It's just a pinch with horror and even some thriller moments, which I will put out and say. And the pacing, to me, feels like the first one. To me, because the first one was straight to the point, short and sweet. That's what Bride of Chucky is. It's almost like a road trip type of film. I've heard people say that, and it very is like a road trip film. It is very much like a road trip type of film. I love the opening song with Rob Zombie's Living Dead Girl. One of my favorite Rob Zombie songs, by the way. Jennifer Tilly as Tiffany, she did a phenomenal job as Tiffany. Phenomenal. The look, Tiffany, love the Tiffany doll look. Love the look of Chucky in this. Love the stitched look. Eventually I'm going to be ranking all of the Chucky looks. I keep saying that, but eventually I will get into it. It's just how, this is off topic, but it's just how I want to rank the looks, There's some looks I will combine and stuff, so it's probably something I will think about after this video, actually, how to make that video. But, Bride of Chucky, back to Bride of Chucky revisiting review. This has some of the best one-liners. To me, this has some of the best one-liners. This is the most memorable one. I'm such a fan of Bride of Chucky. This is, hands down, one of my favorite films of all time. Of any genre, this is my favorite film. I could quote this film. I could remember this film. I remember, like, way back, like, in the day, like, 2007, 8-ish, when Sci-Fi used to play Bride of Chucky a lot. And I had the DVD back then, but I would watch it on TV. I would watch it on my DVD back then. That's what I did, because I just had so much fun with Bride of Chucky. Like I said, it's one of the best Chucky films. And, I think Ronnie Yu did a great job directing. He does not get enough appreciation. Ronnie Yu, he needs to come back to horror. He really does. That man does some phenomenal stuff. He directed Freddy vs. Jason too, as well, which I will get into later in my Freddy reviews. But yeah, I think overall, Bride of Chucky is a very solid, well-made horror film. And yes, I do consider it a horror film. People say, no, it's a horror comedy. It's a comedy. No, I still think it's a horror movie at heart. Again, it does have pinches of comedy, but that comedy works. Like, it takes its, Bride of Chucky takes itself seriously, but not taking itself seriously. You know, like you have a scene where Tiffany and Chucky are having sex, and there's that. You know, like that scene, it can make you laugh. Like that scene makes you laugh. Like the first time I seen that scene, I laughed. You know what I mean? It's just, it's a perfect balance. Like it's a perfect balance type of film. You know what I mean? Like, like, like again, to me, like one of the funniest moments is when Chucky and Tiffany are having sex. To me, that's funny. There's like two dolls going at it. Like to me, that's funny. Especially if you've seen it for the first time. To me, it's funny, and it's so out of place, but it works. You know what I mean? Like it's so out of place and it works. I really would love Ronnie Yu to come back to horror, but I would love for him to do another Chucky film because him and Don Mancini really have good chemistry, and that's proven on screen because this has some of the best cinematography in the whole franchise. Best cinematography. It looks beautiful, especially on Blu-ray. I always watch the Blu-ray of it. It looks beautiful on Blu-ray. I recommend you getting this on Blu-ray because it looks beautiful on Blu-ray. Tiffany, she's just as sadistic and sinister as Chucky. She has a lot of iconic kills in this herself, like the Pinhead kill. There's so many iconic kills in this. Bride of Chucky, this is very iconic. This is the most iconic film. This is the most iconic Chucky film. This is the most iconic Chucky film. It really is the most iconic because of the story, because of the characters. I like Jade and Jesse. I thought they were, good characters. I like their characters, People say, oh, they're annoying. Okay, I respect your opinion, but I like those characters because to me, they're believable. If you are in a relationship and all these murders are happening around you and your significant other, then you gonna start questioning yourself. You gonna question yourself. You gonna question your significant other. That's just life. You know what I mean? Like that's a normal thing to do. You know what I mean? I feel like that's a normal thing to do. So I do like that. I like the scene where Chucky is saying like, well, it's gonna take at least one or two movies, one or two movies just to do it justice. And to me, this has some best animatronics. Bride Chucky still holds up. It's a '90s film, but to me, this is to me. '90s films, Scream 1 and Bride of Chucky, don't care what you say, they still hold up. They were filmed and released in the '90s, but they still hold up. Bride of Chucky is very iconic, and I wish I got to see this in the theaters. I wish I got to see this in the theaters. I really did. I really wish I was born around the time this was released, because I would love to see this in the theaters, This would have been so much fun to see in the theaters, you know what I mean? Bride of Chucky 2 has an epic soundtrack. I think even the soundtrack still holds up, you know what I mean? Again, Bride of Chucky, there's really, I have no negatives. There's all positives. Love Chucky's look. Love Tiffany's look. Love Brad in this. Love Jennifer's performance in this. Like I said about Brad. I love Brad's performance. Love Jennifer's performance. I love everyone's performance. All the acting, everything is perfect. All the dialogue is really good. You could tell like Brad Dourif and Jennifer Tilly, their chemistry was real when they was filming their lines. And it comes off so natural. Yeah, they're talking dolls, but you know what I mean. Like you could tell, like when they were in the booth recording these lines, it just flew. Like it was natural. Like they knew each other forever. You know what I mean? I think that's so rare for actors to do that. For them like just to like flow. You know what I mean? Bride of Chucky, some of the best kills in the franchise. I like the knife that Chucky uses. I know it's like a small thing, but I love the steak knife that Chucky uses. I love that steak knife. It too, like I thought it was funny. Like when Chucky and Tiffany are like hitting each other in the head like with the shovel and stuff. To me, that's funny. I don't care what you say. To me, that's funny. To me, that's funny. There's so many great. I could do a whole video talking about positives about this film. I could just do a whole video dedicated to positive stuff about Bride of Chucky. This is a perfect horror film, a perfect child's play film, just perfect all the way around. You can't get any better than this. Like I said, this reminds me of Nightmare on Elm Street 3 because it's a perfect blend. It's a perfect blend. You're not forcing any comedy, and the comedy that is in there, it's funny, it's effective, and it works. It just works. Like, it works, and I love it. Love me some Bride of Chucky. May go watch it again. That's legit how much I love it. Bride of Chucky, it's really hard to say what is my top 3 Chucky films. It's really hard. Like, it's so hard. You know, like my top 3 as of the recording of this video would be Bride of Chucky, Child's Play 2, then the remake, then the original. But that's so hard. You know, even my top 4 is hard. You know what I mean? I love these films to death, and Bride of Chucky, if I had to pick just one, I say Bride of Chucky is probably my favorite because there's so many things I love about this film from start to finish. The kills, like the pinhead kill, the scene where Tiffany gets electrocuted, the scene where Tiffany and Chucky are bickering about how they're gonna get to Hackensack, New Jersey, and all that. And so I thought the amulet thing was pretty cool, you know, because, and that's thing too, like, I just love Bride of Chucky because Bride of Chucky found a way, you know what I mean, found a way to do a unique story without feeling stale. That's one of the big problems with Child's Play 3. Child's Play 3 problem is it feels stale and rushed. With Bride of Chucky, it feels like it was made with love, and it was took it and it had time to be in production and all that great stuff, and it was telling an original story. You know, even if you're adding something in that wasn't there before, you know, like to be the amulet. I like the amulet. It was just moving the story forward. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was just moving the story forward. And me personally, I wish they would have used the amulet in Call of Chucky to explain the 3 Chuckies. That would have made more sense than VoodoosForDummies.com. I'll get to Call of Chucky later. I just had to pause because I started thinking about Call of Chucky. This is off topic. I love Call of Chucky, but Call of Chucky is kind of disappointing to me. I love it, but disappointing. Back to Bride. Bride of Chucky, this film, all expectations, this film is epic. Again, Chucky's look, Tiffany's look, the acting, the kills, the cinematography, the way it's directed, and even the way it's written. I think this is the best written Chucky film. And again, I think that comes down to Ronnie Yu and Don Mancini's chemistry. I don't know if they were like best friends, you know, or I don't know if they was like best friends on the set or, you know, or whatever, but I could tell that they really gelled while making this because it was just a perfect match. Bride of Chucky, love this film to death, no negatives. Love this film. You don't even have to watch part 1, 2, 3. You just watch Bride, then go watch 1 and 2. You know what I mean? Bride of Chucky, it's a classic, and you gotta check it out if you have not seen it. If you've not seen it, you're crazy. I'm sorry, crazy. Bride of Chucky, love this film. I give it a 10 out of 10. I will always give this film a 10 out of 10. Always will. And it's crazy that some people are starting to forget about how awesome Bride of Chucky is. You know, it's so crazy like how fast people forget how awesome a film is. Like 10 months ago, people were saying Bride of Chucky is the best Chucky film. Now people's like going, it ain't the best one. You know what I mean? So give some more love to Bride of Chucky because I love this film. It's my favorite, and it's just one of my favorite horror films, and it's perfect start to finish. What more can I really say? You know what I mean? So if you did enjoy the video, big thumbs up. Please subscribe, hit that bell, catch everyone in the next one. If you enjoyed the revisiting, let me know. Let me know what you think of Bride of Chucky, and let me know what is your favorite Chucky film in the comments below. For me, it's a hard pick. Right now, I'm tossing around part 2 or Bride. I say Bride is my favorite at the moment. Catch everyone in the next one.